My husband, 41M, almost caused an accident and blamed everyone else, including myself, 32F. My husband, 41M, and I, 32F, have been together for 9 years. We have recently started marriage counseling to hopefully improve communication. I'm starting to think it's not a communication issue, but an incompatibility issue. A lot of recent disagreements are related to safe practices with our toddler. He thinks I worry too much about safety. I think he lacks good judgment in regard to safety. Today we were driving, with our 2-year-old in the car, and there were 5 vehicles ahead of us. The front 2 were large tractors with slow-moving vehicle signs on the back of them. My husband was getting gradually irritated because they were going 25 miles per hour in a 45 miles per hour in the 3 cars in front of us were not passing them. It was a solid double line. I told him that while it's annoying to go this slow, just be patient and do not pass, as there are too many cars we would need to quickly overcome. His irritation level increases and he slightly crosses over the double line to see if it's safe to pass. I then yell, "Do not pass." This escalates the situation. He tells me the tractors, are assholes for not pulling over and the cars behind them are assholes for also not passing. At this point I'm practically begging him to relax and please do not pass. It's not worth it. It's a solid double line. We have the baby with us, etc. Basically trying to rationalize in any way possible. What does he do? Crosses over the double lines, slams on the accelerator, and attempts to pass 5 vehicles in one go. I can see there is oncoming traffic further ahead, but there is also a slight hill so I cannot see past that. Suddenly another vehicle comes over the hill and my husband has to slam on the brakes and wedge between the 2 tractors to avoid a head-on collision. Horns were blaring and everyone flipped us off. I was so pissed but remained quiet while he blamed literally everyone else but himself for almost causing an accident. He even blamed me for not trusting his judgment, which in turn caused him to not trust his gut, because if he had, then apparently everything would have worked out. I eventually spoke up and called him a terrible driver and claimed the reason he was actually upset is because he was embarrassed. He vehemently denied that accusation. I recognize that wasn't a helpful comment and I should have just remained quiet. I'm starting to think our situation cannot be improved and I need to decide if I can accept this behavior for the rest of my life. I don't even know if this is something counseling can solve. I feel so unheard and just overall really frustrated and hopeless. TLDR. Husband almost caused an car accident with myself and our toddler in the car, but does not take accountability or recognize he had poor judgment. Edit. I'm surprised with how many people are agreeing with me that this was reckless. I mean, it was reckless, right? Initially after the situation occurred I was pissed but also felt like I should have done more to control situation. I could have either been more convincing, or I could have just let it happen without reprimanding him and thus distracting him. I feel almost validated that people agree his behavior is concerning and my response is appropriate. He put your child's life and safety at risk, not to mention yours and everyone else on that road, over what amounts to a minor inconvenience. If he can't even see that, then I don't know what more you can do. The fact that he could not control himself to the point that he had to endanger multiple lives and then accepts none of the blame? There's some major issues there. I'm guessing this type of behavior is not abnormal. I recognize that wasn't a helpful comment and I should have just remained quiet. This sentence stands out to me above everything you wrote. I wonder how often that is your go-to when things like this happen. Your partner should never make you feel that way. Your feelings, sentiments, opinions, etc. all matter, no matter what. I hope you find strength to make the decision that is best for you and your baby. Sending big hugs, because I know it is easier said by this internet stranger than done. This is not issues in communication. This is issues with his ego and temper. So no accountability, gaslighting, and not considering the safety of his family? Thank goodness no one was hurt, which was due to luck and not his superior driving skills. I'm sure you have already thought of this, but this is not the kind of behavior you want your toddler around. I would find it near impossible to stay with someone after that. At minimum, talk to a lawyer and discuss your options. Do you have your own job, finances? Your husband is your first and most petulant child. He risked your life, your baby's life, the lives of the people in the vehicle in the other lane, and the lives of both truck drivers just to save maybe 5 minutes. And now his ego won't let him admit he was wrong. Ask him if someone has to die before he will admit to being wrong. Ask if he's this careless with your lives, why should you stay with him? Turn the trailers into regular cars going the speed limit. And a friend of my partner's did the exact same thing to us a few weeks ago. Right down to wedging himself between two of the vehicles he was attempting to pass. He ran both of them off the road as well as the oncoming car that had nowhere else to go to avoid an accident. We were in the mountains. Luckily everyone involved was okay physically and the other cars were able to course correct and keep going without an accident. It was one of the most terrifying things to ever happen to me. I just knew we were going to get into an accident and it was going to be bad. I can't even guess how fast he was going. He accelerated so quickly and violently that I was pinned to my seat and unable to move. We were mere inches from the other vehicles. I am never getting in a vehicle with him again. He nearly killed me, my partner, himself, and 3 other cars worth of people. It's been weeks and I still get clammy when I think about it. I had a full-blown panic attack once we were out of the car. This one thing completely changed my perspective on someone I had considered a friend previously. Partially because of the way he responded after. He thought that once we saw that nothing bad had happened, we would be exhilarated, when we weren't, and were instead furious. He got mad at us and proceeded to pout for several hours. He also told a very toned-down version of it to people who were horrified when I told them what really happened. Your husband is not a safe person to be in a vehicle with. Your child is not safe in his car. Neither are you. What he did was so infuriatingly reckless and stupid that I can't really wrap my head around it. Please do not let him convince you this is a you problem. It's 110% a him problem. He should be horrified. He should be groveling. He would never drive with myself or my child in the car ever again. This would have been a relationship ender for me. He put your life and your child's life at risk because he can't process his emotions in a healthy manner. If you have a dashcam, save that footage and use it in the custody hearing. Are you using communication issues as a polite euphemism for selfish asshole who can't control their anger, doesn't listen to you and then fails to take accountability for their actions? I often see this used. And yeah, I get it sounds okay. Like yep, we don't communicate well, but those words make it sound like there could just be a better way to communicate. And can often hide that one or both parties are not actually engaging in communication with an intent to actually communicate, that they aren't engaging with their partner in a way that respects their feelings. Autonomy. They aren't behaving as a mature adult in a partnership where both people have an equal right to happiness. Like this. You said directly not to do it, as it puts you, without your consent, into a dangerous situation you and your child don't want to be in. Communication does not equal negotiation. They aren't synonymous. It's as disparate as pledge and donate. He heard you say not to put you into that situation, disregarded it, and did something reckless and stupid, and then continued to be irate, and continued to use that anger to avoid any introspection into how stupid a decision he made over a little inconvenience, and almost obliterated his family to avoid a minimal delay. That's not a communication issue. That's anger, disrespect, lack of self-control, lack of accountability. And when those traits bleed into the rest of the relationship, a selfish person can use words like, "We just don't communicate well," to obfuscate the real issue. Them. I'm not saying you are perfect. But if this is an accurate snippet of the relationship, then what I am seeing is that if he is angry, your needs, your fears, your safety does not matter. So I want you to reevaluate saying communication issues. Could it be better surmised by saying that he has main character syndrome? He's got anger issues and needs therapy. It has nothing to do with communication. I'd tell him until he gets it that neither you nor your kid will be riding with him again. Also, it was because he was embarrassed. You say that it's a communication problem, but he seems to be communicating quite clearly. He doesn't care, and he's not going to. Listen to his words and actions. I learned the hard way that marriage counseling can be terrible for a situation like this. The counselor keeps trying to put both people on a level playing field. Even though one of them, in this case your husband, has the self-awareness of a potato. Meanwhile, the other person who is actually willing to work on the marriage, you in this case, proceeds to beat themselves over the head with a 2x4 trying to follow the advice of the counselor, while continuing to be met with never-ending suggestions on how to try even harder to get the relationship to work, like being less critical for his fragile little ego, because obviously you're not working hard enough. It's complete madness. 0/10 would not recommend. It sounds like a character issue on your husband's part. He refuses to take accountability and blames everyone else for his problems. You can't fix that. Some people just can't accept responsibility for anything. They are right no matter what, and everyone else is to blame for everything. If he was like that but adored you and was always gentle and kind with you, that would be something you could live with. But teaching your child that staying quiet and not speaking up is the best way to keep a man from erupting? No. What will it take for you to leave? I mean, he's already endangered your life as well as the lives of your child and others on the road. So I am wondering, what's your red line? This is not a communication issue at all. He has communicated quite clearly that he doesn't care for your and your child's safety, which brings me back to the question, at what point would you stand up for yourself and your child? Recognize that wasn't a helpful comment and I should have just remained quiet. No, you've done far too much remaining quiet. You must refuse to let him drive you or your baby, children again. Stand up for your own safety and your children's. I think you're right, it's not a communication issue. It's a bullying a-hole issue. You know who is literally never wrong and always being victimized by everyone else? That's right. Say it with me. Narcissists. The 2 excites minutes he wants to save is not worth his life or his family's lives. You're fighting a losing fight. He's at that age where he is stuck in his ways and change is near impossible. I would not personally feel safe around this man given this example. Let this be the straw that breaks your back. Skimming the comments reveals you've put up with a lot of unfair treatment. Do you want another 20 years of that? Will your kid be happier growing up in the household or one where you co-parent? Something has to change. If you aren't willing to walk, he won't change. And even if he's willing to change, it's hard when he has such strong emotional decision-making.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.